Hey everyone, can you hear me? Yes. All right. So it's a bit of a weird title to tackle, but we're doing pitches of Arc in the room adjacent to this building. So we're going to do something a bit different over here, which is to discuss something else, an experience that I've had after working with hundreds of startup companies that to me is to this day the most profound entrepreneurial experience I've seen, witnessed, or participated in. Before we get to that, personally, those three logos on the side, not the fourth one, that's the startup we're here today, Aviv and I are here with today. They represent 17 years of consulting and professional services through one of Israel's Magic Circle tech law firms, and additional JVs that I co-founded with the firm to give some business consulting as well, to over 650 Israeli startups from inception through their entire life cycle. That's my experience. It's my experience with professional services, and it's my personal experience with startup companies that sort of led to and culminated in ARC. And I look at my companies and I see, who succeeded, who didn't. But then something happened after October 7th. This thing happened. Does anybody know what this is? Over there in that picture? Just barely see it, right? It's a Hermes plane by Elbit Systems, and it's flying over Tehran. And when I saw this, it became clear to me that the greatest startup company I've ever taken part in was actually my military unit. I was a co-founding member of Zik, the unit that operates this platform. And I went through every single phase in its evolution. And then looking back at every single successful startup that I represented, I could see that they went through very similar challenges. And the ones who succeeded, they tackled those challenges like my unit did. And I want to share with you some of the stages that my unit faced and how we're dealing with them in ARC today. So, well before a company's formed, in my experience, something else happens. Somebody cares or arrives at a core understanding that something needs dealing with on a human level. They could be high when that's happening in California, but they arrive at that understanding. So for example, hey, we humans shouldn't be in hazardous places and do things while risking our lives. Something else should do them on our behalf. Remote. That's sort of an understanding that eventually leads to UAVs. Also, hey, we humans produce a lot of words, and there are many humans who charge a lot for those words and that time per hour. I think maybe we should make that more efficient, like the way that we communicate. Something else can sort of predict what the next most probable word that might come out of our mouth should be. And then there's a breakthrough innovation. In ARC's case, it has nothing to do with ARC. It's just the ability to access a large language model. And in Israel's case, or in the UAV case, the real innovation is live encrypted vision through comms. It's not the plane is BS. A lot of people can do remote control managed planes, right? And when you have that, then you can develop real companies around that. You can develop real applications around that. And in Israel, we developed Zik to solve a pain, because that's when you want to get that pain into your deck, right? The pain that you want to solve. And a lot of companies made a mistake, and our unit made the same mistake. Our country made the same mistake, which is to solve for our most recent, most prevalent pain, instead of to predict our next most probable pain and solve for that. So with the UAVs in Israel, when I joined the unit, it did nothing. It was in stealth mode, and it was there to deal with a situation that maybe in the future there will be 5x more Syrian tanks than we have, like last time, Yom Kippur, and we can't count on miracles, so we'll be ready with these planes to take out those tanks. Same sort of happened in ARC. We sort of thought, well, there's 10x more service providers than what we need, and we can sort of really make that more efficient by making more efficient the process of those service providers creating their documents, because that's what takes them the most time. So we'll do that. And we built the very first version of our platform in a manner that was geared to anticipate what documents might be needed in a process on a business, legal, and financial front, and then generate those documents. When you solve for a previous pain, and you make that mistake, some tragedies might happen to your company. In Zik, we revolutionized our ability to operate UAVs, and we enabled all these missions, but we didn't do anything because nothing was happening in Syria. In ARC, we transformed the document creation process, but Syria wasn't coming to our border. Egypt has a peace agreement with us. The threat of 10,000 tanks is more fictional than real, and you have all these great people working on it and not, and excuse me for these analogies, but this is how we experience them, not quote unquote going to market. Same goes for ARC. Our market was leaving us. A lot of companies are doing document creation and going to law firms and other professional service firms to help them do document creation. But are there real current and future problems being tackled? Well, in both of our companies, we had a little bit of a mutiny. In Zik, our soldiers stopped showing up. The best soldiers in the army, the ones who get eliminated from pilot course, they just stopped showing up. They had other more interesting opportunities they wanted to bring their motivation to, the second Intifada. In ARC, my co-founders sat me down and said, we're not doing enough with our tech. We're working on superiority, but we're delaying our going to market. And all this document stuff, it seems a bit old now, doesn't it? It's becoming a relic of the past. We should do something else. Now, the way to solve that problem and the way to reach the pivot is something that we've done many times since in my unit, which is conducting a real high-integrity SWOT analysis. It's looking at our strengths and our capabilities and seeing if we can pivot to a place where we become more relevant. And in Zik, what we did was say, hey, we do have the best people. We have an extremely agile platform. We've built it in a way that it can conduct just one task, like each and every one document that ARC could generate. But after taking some advice from the Army's version of McKinsey, it's called Talpiot, we were advised to change our model, to merge the humans and the machine, to teach the humans to operate the machine in all types of missions, not just reconnaissance and attacking tanks, but all others. And within a week, in the last 6 months of my service, the unit went from stealth mode to the unit that has taken out Hamas's leaders and Hezbollah's leaders ever since 2003. And I'm very proud of that because the people who led to that were not the people who were getting the budgets from the government. It was the soldiers down the ranks that just didn't want to show up to a company that isn't actually fulfilling its mission and its vision. In ARC, we merged the people with the humans. We opened ARC University. We took our chat, which was very strong and it showed strong results in our beta. We put it front and center. We trained hundreds of agents with the context of the real experts that surround us. And we built a machine that advises entrepreneurs from day one, well before they meet their lawyers, well before they meet their corporate advisors, well before they meet their bankers and their other vendors. That advice comes together with documentation. Easy, we already did that. Hey, you know what? My unit took out the Syrian army and all of its tanks 24 years later after Assad fell. So you can continue and fulfill your original plans as well. So this is ARC's stage. We're going to see traction by the end of 2025 because we're opening our platform for wide use probably in about a month, maybe less. And I invite you to come and join and take your advice from there, certainly if you're early stage founders. With Zik only grew from the beginning of taking out Hamas and solving the second Intifada. We were a main player in 2006. We incubated 9 more UAV squadrons in the army. We took out the cross-border tunnels and helped the soldiers take them out in 2014. And we've been protecting our soldiers for the last 2 years, which is sort of the moment where we've become ubiquitous in Israel. People now finally know the term Shtayim Shalosh Shager, and the Israelis here will know it. but this was a term that I would have gone to jail for saying 24 years earlier. And I think immortality, that's achieved in Iran, and that's what I started with. So if you have any questions, if you want to learn more about ARC, please, you're invited to the room next door, and I hope you enjoy your break. And thank you for those who could stay and hear us out.